How do fellas, nice back here again, and today I've got another inbox review for you. You'll have to excuse the dressing gown. I'm in my modern area, as you can see, and I don't get any heat actually in this, especially when I close the door to be able to do reviews. So it's a little bit chilly in here. Okay, so with this review, I've got a brand new boxing out for you. I've got Airfix's 1/48 Fiery Gannet. Okay, this is the AS1 AS4 version, and as you can see, it's a big old box. Right, there's actually quite a lot in here. Okay, there are 3 markings as shown just there. Okay, so there's a really interesting one, one with the Suez Invasion. Well, I don't know where the Suez Invasion shows, but we'll have a look at that. It's from 847 Cyprus Squadron from 1947, which was around, what was Suez Canal? Was it 52? I can't remember. But we'll get into that when we get into it. So what I'll put you on the oven and we'll get cracking. So as always, we will start with the instruction manual. So this is Airfix newer style manuals. I really like the way they do this. Okay, but I'll explain that as we go through. So we've got some spiel in English, French, and I don't know if it's Germany, Dutch, whatever. Okay, in German or whatever. Okay, there are 3 schemes included, like I said. This is going to be quite a big aircraft, so nearly 30 centimetres by nearly 35 centimetres. And there are 2 build options. So you can build this with either wings extended or wings folded. Let's get them right out of the way for now. Okay, so we'll start off in the front. You've got your assembly instructions. Okay, we've got Spanish and another one in there as well. Okay, and then we move straight into how this goes together, starting with what looks like the bomb bay. Okay, so we've got the bomb bay and some bulkheads going together. The red bits are the bit that you've added before, and then we move on to this number 4, and Airfix have supplied you a box to put some weight in to make sure this is not a tail sitter. So you make sure you put 12 grams in there. And then you move on to putting the floor of the cockpit. So we've got the forward cockpit here, we've got the rear cockpit here, onto the actual belly and nose. Before that, we turn the actual part over and start putting these little bulkheads in for, I'm assuming, for the nose wheel. We've got some more bulkheads going on before we then move back into the cockpit and putting parts of the cockpit together. We have the pilots and the nav person, whatever they want to call them, in the back in there again, with all these instrument panels and bulkheads, radios going together. We then move on to adding those bits there onto the actual aircraft. We then start looking at the rear seat as well. As you can see, it's going together in there. Moving on to the 2 fuselage halves, we've got some clear parts to add. We've got some side bulkheads to add. Not look like there's any parts to actually cut out. Got your paint call outs. These paint call outs will be in Humbrol as normal. We then mount the actual interior onto the fuselage, and then we've got another 55 grams, okay, going into this area here, where you can see just here, weight up to this line, it says. So you add more weight in there. How you can manage to get up to that line, I don't know, other than standing on end. We've then got 2 different options. So we've got what I can only assume some sort of radar, which is extended, or a radar actually recessed. Okay, if you're having wheels down, you want to have it, make sure it's that one. We then move into, and it says the starboard and the port assembly. So we've got wheel wells, we've got some control parts, okay, we've got bits where it says do not glue, okay, so test fit part, E2 file slots if necessary, do not glue. So this is probably part of the landing gear. So again, that says starboard and port. We move on now to whether we want the wings folded or wings extended. So if you want the wings extended, you're going to follow pages steps 39 to 50. If you want them folded, it's miss outs 39 to 50 and go straight to step 51 on page 8. So you can see, putting on the wheel wells, we have these boxes here. These boxes to help strengthen the wings. Okay, we will be drilling out for the rockets. All right, moving on to the other wing. Okay, like so. Then adding the wings to the actual fuselage before we move on to the control surfaces. And then I believe we've got a clear part to go on the actual end of the wingtip. We then move on to the next step. So now we're into the wings folded step. So we've got the wings, the inner part with the folding mechanism going in. We've then got adding some of the control surfaces. We've got the port side, exactly the same. Then you add both to the aircraft before we're moving on to the next part. Okay, again with this strengthening box, adding some more of the folds on there. Okay, another box, some more of the folds for the port and starboard. Got a bulkhead that goes on the wings. So you then end up with it like that, which we'll have a look at more detail later on. Moving on to the tail, so gluing the two tail parts together, the horizontal stabilizers, the little fins above and below the tail. Whether you want extended flaps and slats, extended flaps and control surfaces, okay, as you can see, we have adding these parts to the actual aircraft so they're extended. Moving on to doing the nose, okay, so not gluing the spinner, and then we move on to adding those to like binocular parts to the actual front of the nose. We have the wheels, so starboard and port, okay, going in whether it's extended or not. More bulkheads and bits and pieces going on. We've then got the extended parts for the main wheels and the nose wheel, and notice this is all got weight on wheels. And then we move into the spinner. Okay, so this counter rotating prop on the front. We have a closed bomb bay door to go on, but you also get bombs galore that you can add to the aircraft. Okay, and then you will have the extended or open bomb bay, which you will find just there. So two parts going together. And then we've got the actuators for the bomb door, the doors going on. We have parts for pylons for the underwing storage. Okay, we also have the parts for the underwing rockets. Okay, we then start adding some of the clear parts, and we need to be able to drill into part of it, and part of it you have actually got another plastic bit to act as a jig to help guide your drill bit. And you have two windscreen options, so one with a window wiper and one without. You get pilots in this. You can have open and closed. Okay, you can have the radome extended or not. You can have wheels up, down. You can have bomb bays open, closed. Moving on to the exhausts. You can have wings extended or not. Okay, so there are a variety of different ways you can actually build this kit. Okay, and it all comes in one kit. You don't have to buy any extras for it. Moving on to the colour callouts. Okay, so we have got 849 Naval Air Squadron HQ training flight from 1937, Air Station Cudrose. We then got 815 Naval Air Squadron HMS Ark Royal 1958. We then have Naval Air Squadron RAF Nausicaa Cyprus 1954, and you don't get these as decals, these invasion stripes. Okay, you get, it tells you how big to actually paint them. So 32 millimeters, okay, with 6.4 millimeter wide bands. So it's there, it's telling you everything you need to know. So it says there they were the Suez Canal. Okay, reason I wasn't too sure is because they were meant to be yellow, but it says it appears that the stripes on 086 were applied in either white or pale yellow. It's got the two colour callouts there, so you could do whichever one you wanted, which is actually quite cool. All right. Oh, on the back of that one, you've got your stencil data. So let's move straight on to the grey plastic, and you get seven big sprues. Okay, but they're quite big sprues, but this one is broken down into 3 sections. So we've got, as you can see here, we've got F. I really like this way of numbering. G and H. Okay, so this is parts of the interior. Our 3 pilots figures, that they all look exactly the same, so they could be triplets. Okay, I don't suppose it really matters once you get it mounted into your model. I won't be using because I just don't. Okay, so starting from this side, we'll start from this side. We'll work our way across. So we've got part of what looks like the nose wheelway or wheels. Okay, some really nice detailed molding on here. It's the harder grayer type plastic instead of the bluey grey, and as you, hopefully you can see, there's some really nice rivet and what have you details on there. We then move on to this one where we're moving on to the props, nose cones, that little binocular type bit, and then moving on to the bulkheads for the cockpit, and again some really nice detail throughout. Onto the 3 fellas, and another bulkhead just there, and then all 3 seats. Okay, some more bulkheads again, some really nice recessed rivet detail and some raised detail on them. The instrument panel, no detail on the actual in the instruments themselves, but there are hollows in there, so hopefully if you use the decal it should sink in quite nicely. We then move on to some fins and the tail hook and all that good stuff. Next sprue is Sprew J. Yeah, frame J, right in the middle there. I couldn't see it for looking. I was looking around the edge. And this one's all the weapons and all the hard points and stuff like that. So we've got bombs. Okay, we've got different types of bombs, bigger bombs. We have got pylons, which again has got some really nice detail on there. We've got some detail on these fins for some of these bombs, but I'm assuming with these ones and these parts here. Again, some nice detail on these parts. These are going to be quite hard though to keep the mouldings there without obliterating them with a sanding stick. But other than that, really nicely done. We've got Sprew E, and this is the part to do with some of the wing folds, some of the bulkheads, wheel wells and stuff like that. So we'll start with the wing folds area, and you can see again some nice raised and recessed. Okay, there's some little raised rivets on there. There are some really nicely done recessed ones on there. Same with that part as well. Some more bulkheads with wiring and cabling on there. Part of the wheel well. And hopefully you can see some of the lovely detail. We move on to the wheel hubs. And some of the best molding I've ever seen from Airfix. Unfortunately, even though they are solid, no, not solid, they've got a little thing, got weight on wheels, they are 2-part wheels, but they shouldn't be take too long to deal with. Another panel or hatch, you can see again some lovely detail on that. Same with that one. And then this one is just a total reverse of what's over here. Okay, so I'm not going to show you that. But again, some really nice moulding throughout on this sprue. As I would expect, no flash. I have not seen any issues with short shots, which can be known to be a problem with Airfix recently. We then move on to the wings themselves. Okay, so these are the parts for the folded wings. So we've got the uppers and the lowers. We have got the Bombay door. So even in part of the Bombay door, okay, so these are 2 parts. You can see on the inside of the Bombay door, hopefully, all the rivet detail. On the outside of the Bombay door, all the rivet detail. On the tail planes and stuff like that, all the rivet detail. On the control surfaces, on the tail, on part of the actual wing, bracing struts, okay, and the rivets are not overly done. These are really fine rivets coming from Airfix. This is absolutely superb. This one is just an exact copy of the last one you've just seen, but this is probably going to be for the other wing. Okay, what I didn't show you before is some of the, there's not much detail actually in the wheel bay area, but I don't suppose you're going to see that really anyway. We then move on to the fuselage and the closed Bombay door and the Bombay itself. So if we have a look at the fuselage first, hopefully you can see there's some beautiful lovely detail on there. We've then got our cockpit, okay, some nice detail, not overly done, a bit bland, but I don't know how much you're going to see in there. We move on to the actual Bombay, and again you've got lots of recessed detail, some raised detail, all that ribbing, so that wheel wash will look superb. Onto the other side of the fuselage, moving on to the Bombay doors, the one-piece one. We then have some more bulkheads up here, some of these boxes that you'll see dotted about, a part for the in the nose, okay, and then we've got our wing spar just there. On to our final sprue. So we've got, this is with the wings extended, okay, we've got the radome and a part for the radome just there, and you can see again some really nice detail on these parts, okay. Turn them over. Again, nothing really to write home about with these, other than absolutely smashing detail. That just leaves us with the clear parts and the decals. Okay, so just bear with me, I forgot to open the clear part one up. Okay, so there you are, the two different types of cockpit glazing, and it looks really, really nice. And then we move on to the decals. These are going to be printed by Cartograph, so you should have no issues with them whatsoever. Okay, they look really, really nice. Really nice indeed. And they will be right up my street to actually spray. So yes, very, very nice. So that is Airfix Gannet. And what can I say apart from wow? Airfix have really stepped it up a notch recently. I've noticed that with their seeking. I never saw any of their kits from before that really recently. As you can see, I've got a few up there. So I've got a TSR2, a Canberra I've got up there, and I've also got a Lightning. So yeah, the Canberra's just above the TSR2. So those kits up there are, well, the Lightning was probably one of the better of the older bunch. So I've not seen anything really after that, other than looking at pictures and seeing the Hellcat and the Spitfire, the 24th scale Spitfire, but they were in 24th. Now they've fetched that expertise down to 48th. Now bear in mind what you actually get with this kit. So with the kit you get 4 free marking options. Great, that's normal for them. But you can get wings up or down. You can get bomb bay door open or close, a full bomb bay, all the bombs. You can get wheels up or down. You can get windows open or closed. You can get the radome up or down. You can get flaps up or down. So in a way, there's actually a lot, and I mean a hell of a lot, in this kit for the price. Now, I believe for the price, we are going to be having them on shows for 48. I don't know what we're going to have them on our website yet, because these have only just come today. Okay, this one's mine. This is mine. This is mine. It's staying in my stash. So for £48, you get a hell of a lot of plastic in the box. Throw in as well the detail that's actually within that kit, with the bomb bay, the detail on the fuselage, on the wings. I think the cockpit may let it down, but I don't know. It might look lovely. You might not be able to see a great deal actually in the cockpit until it's built. So for what you actually get for in today's prices, a lot of people said Airfix was going expensive. But when you think about what's actually in the kit, for 48 to let's say £55 maybe, you actually get quite a bit in there. Again, don't know what it's like to be to build. I've not built one. I've not even seen any built as yet, other than actually on Telford's stand at Telford. Airfix stand at Telford, and they did look absolutely bob on, I must admit. Okay, but actually seeing the plastic up close, I'm really, really impressed. And this is not just me being an Airfix fanboy because I'm from the UK or whatever. I don't build a lot of Airfix kits. I prefer Edard or Tamiya because they tend to go together a lot easier. Okay, so I don't tend to build a lot of theirs. I've got a few up there for nostalgia reasons, because they're the only ones that I can get that are British jets. Okay, this is another British subjects that there's not many out. Same with the Sea King. Okay, and I will be getting a Vampire and a Hunter at some point. I've got a Jaguar, an Airfix Jaguar, an old one. Okay, because there's no other in the market. And this is just because they're the type of subjects that interest me. And where can I get them from? I can only really get them from Airfix. All right. But this on its own, wow. Yeah, really impressed. Really, really impressed. Really, really like it. Okay, it looks superb. But enough of me waffling on. If you want to have a better look at it, okay, all I'd say is go out there and buy one. See them. Okay, there'll be probably a lot going out in the next 6 months or different shows. Go and have a look at them. Okay, they are really, really nice. Anyway, that's from me. That's it from me. Sorry. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.